What's up, guys? You're listening to Lucid Rain. Today we have the first episode in a new series that we're doing about cryptids, folklores, legends, mythology, essentially just talking about creatures. This one is going to be a cryptid, one that I guarantee all of you have heard of. It is Mothman. So,
Mothman.
How these are going to work is we're kind of going to describe what it is, talk about sightings, essentially what we think about it, and kind of end it if we think it's real, or they're probably all going to be somewhat structured like this, but we're gonna work it out as we go. So let's hope you enjoy it. But Mothman, why don't you tell them a little bit about Mothman?
Yeah, so it's basically in the simplest of terms is an owl man. It's like has some humanoid features, but it also has owl/bird like features. Well, I guess you could say moth as well, which isn't, that's not a bird, it's an insect, but still. Yeah, apparently it has super red eyes. That's a very
glowing red eyes.
Glowing red eyes, like very distinct
it's
feature
as well, right?
Yeah, it is bipedal, and apparently the thing's over 7 feet tall. As that's what people say, and it's like gray or brown. I've heard both. I don't know which it is. It's probably somewhere in between, in all honesty. And it just has an extreme wingspan. So that's pretty much what.
Way bigger than an owl. I mean, this thing is
way
supposedly bigger. The size of a human, if not a little taller than like your average man. Like maybe like 6 to 7 feet tall, maybe even a little taller than that.
Yeah. So there's not really any mistaking it for anything else, but we'll get to that later. So this thing's obviously like unlike anything anyone's ever seen, right? Well, one of the explanations for this is that it's called an ultra-terrestrial, which is different from extraterrestrial, and the difference is ultra-terrestrials are from Earth, but they're from a different dimension, and they can go in and out as they please. And it's theorized that that's what Mothman is.
So a little bit more background about Mothman. So Mothman kind of gained notoriety in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is a city on the border of Ohio and West Virginia, and it's famously connected to a bridge collapse that a bunch of people died in. And so the story goes essentially is you're in Point Pleasant, Virginia, right? There's a ammunitions factory there. I guess it was one of the World War II, or
I guess it was World War II. I'm not sure.
It might have been. It was some war. I don't know exactly which war it was. Ammunitions factory there, really heavily wooded area. It's West Virginia, obviously. West Virginia, a lot of mountains, a lot of forest. People started seeing this giant owl-moth hybrid creature. A couple people saw it flying over their cars. One of the famous stories is there was a couple that were driving down a back road, and this thing is in this road. They get out, it flies over their car, and essentially there was sightings for I think only a couple of weeks, like maybe a month max. Yeah. And then they start seeing this creature, and then all of a sudden they have a massive bridge collapse, which a lot of people died in, and supposedly people even saw it on the bridge before. So people think Mothman is like a bad omen, or basically something that you see before a disaster.
Yeah, so kind of like it could also be like some kind of warning, but that's also who knows,
And what's crazy is it's connected to that bridge collapse, and it's also heavily connected to the Men in Black phenomena, which is something that we have covered on this channel if you've listened before. So for something that only had a very small amount of time, like an incredibly small amount of time of being seen, it's connected to so many larger things.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about most cryptids, there's centuries of people seeing it. Like, I mean, you can pretty much name a cryptid, and there's probably thousands upon thousands of eyewitness accounts. You know,
Yeah,
in
and I
this,
mean, Mothman had a good
in the
amount. Sorry.
yeah,
I was,
this one, I mean, it's less than 100.
yeah. Well, less than 100 is not that like not that low of a number because of the short time span that it was being seen.
Yeah,
So like,
when it was seen. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I was done. Good.
When it was seen by a lot of people.
Yeah. So that's
I
kind of
mean,
where the credibility comes in, is like the time frame mixed with the amount of sightings. That ratio is kind of like, that's weird.
yeah, I mean, it is taken on a. As far as cryptids go, this is one of the highlighted cryptids where, I mean, you see someone that's interested in this type of shit, you'll see people with shirts with Mothman on it,
Yeah.
toys, like, it is a mainstream cryptid. And
There's a
what's
statue
crazy
of
is
it.
it's a mainstream cryptid, but it's one of the least cited. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any modern day sightings.
No. Apparently, after the bridge collapse, it was gone. I don't know if there's even. I mean, maybe you could find one online, the one after that, but I heard that it was never seen again after the bridge collapse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any other times that's ever been seen, which kind of, I guess, could go to the theory that it's either an extraterrestrial or ultra-terrestrial, and was there because it knew. I guess the ultra-terrestrial theory would make more sense, that it somehow knew that bridge was going to collapse, and that's why it was there, or like, I don't know. There's a crazy amount of conspiracy theories connected to Mothman, which, we'd be talking for hours if we went over all of them. So we're not going to do that, just for the sake of time. And I don't really think they add much to the fact that, like, I don't think it adds much to the story. If you're interested, you can find that material yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And so there's been at least 2 accounts. There could be more, maybe, but I only saw 2 accounts of Mothman actually. I don't know if you'd call it being hostile necessarily, but it literally chased 2 people. Like, not at the same time, but 2 separate
The incident with the car is one of them that I kind of talked about before.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the most famous account.
I believe they were both with a car. So I don't know what, I guess you could say that's aggressive behavior. I don't know what you would say, because I didn't hurt them, I don't think.
No, I don't think it's ever hurt anybody. Now, if it caused the bridge to collapse, then, I guess you could argue
then
that it hurt a lot of people. But,
yeah.
That's kind of neither here nor there.
Yeah, so literally no one knows if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It could be either one, truthfully. It could be a warning to, like we said, like, maybe something bad's about to happen. I don't know. Who knows? But one of the explanations, which I think is stupid, but some people don't think is stupid, is that it's a barn owl. And the reason people say, oh, it's just a barn owl is because, people usually see owls just sitting around and not flying. So when they do fly, people are like, oh, people aren't used to that. So that's just what they saw.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring in another cryptid that is somewhat similar, but not entirely. And we may or may not cover, because we've covered it in the story before. We did a episode on alien encounters that were pretty much, like, confirmed that it really happened and that it was, an extraterrestrial, and the Flatwoods Monster. And people tried to say that was a barn owl, because they are.
Yeah.
Owls are huge. Like, some
They
owls
are.
are like
They are
3-4
big.
feet. Like, some owls are the size of a toddler, and they do have 2 legs. And if their wings are up, you will see their legs. And it's kind of a weird thing looking at an owl that's not Like, typically when you see an owl, they have their wings down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, they kind of just look like, they look like an owl. But when they have their wings spread and you can see their legs and their full body, I mean, a big barn owl is a big fucking thing. But it's not a 7-foot creature.
No. I think there's a very big difference there. But their explanation is just, we don't usually see owls fly. That's why when we do see one, that's what, it looks weird to us. It's like, I assure you that they did not mistake something that's how could it look 7 feet tall in any way? Like, I'm kind of confused how, like, that would come about if it was just an owl, like that doesn't really add up.
Barn owl is pretty much the only thing that I've heard.
The only rational explanation.
But to kind of circle back, it is kind of weird because it does fall into the Men in Black like lore category. Because after that happened, there were people with black suits questioning witnesses and questioning people. And if you know anything about the Men in Black, anything that they touch is pretty weird. Like, if they're involved in something or they're poking around something, then something has to be fucked.
Yeah.
They don't just show up for no reason.
Yeah, it's usually, I mean, a lot. It's not even just people that see something. It can, like, there was a guy named John Keel. He was investigating like heavily in this Mothman, and I'm sure they showed up at his door. If they're a thing, then I am sure he got a visit from them. Because I didn't hear if anything actually happened to him, but this guy was investigating it more than anyone else at the time.
Well, in this particular case, it kind of sucks because it happened in I'm trying to remember when this happened. I think it happened.
I don't remember the year
in the
either.
Late 60s.
Okay.
So, like, something that happened in the late 60s, any evidence of that is gone. That place is, completely different now. I mean, that's...
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's, 50 years ago?
Yeah, long time ago, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's 50 years ago, so how much can you research that? So, I mean, I don't know when he researched it, but I'm sure that was somewhat soon after it happened. Whereas
it was.
Now, if you go poking around about Mothman, like, fuck are you gonna do? You're gonna be walking around the woods, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, like, no one's seen it. The case is pretty much cold.
Yeah, no one's seen it in years.
I think this is one of those cryptids that this cryptid is pretty much an urban like, this is a legend. And this is an urban legend more than it is a cryptid at this point.
It kind of fits in both categories, honestly. But yeah, I guess we can talk about do we think it's real? And honestly, I do think those people, especially the 2 people that got chased supposedly, did see the thing, and so maybe it's not exactly what we think it is, but I definitely think it exists. Did exist.
I mean, the fact that it's connected to so many crazy things, and anytime we don't really know if the FBI is the Men in Black or if the Men in Black are something entirely different.
Yeah, who knows?
But they're either connected to the government or they're bigger than the government.
Yeah.
So if they're involved in something, then 100% I think there's something to that, because they don't just show up.
Yeah.
For anything. And a lot of times you hear Men in Black like with telepathy and supernatural shit anyway. So I'm almost 100, I'm pretty sure that this actually happened. And like you said, maybe it's not what we think it is, but it's definitely
something. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they would have a statue of this thing. Like, there's a statue of Mothman in Virginia. I don't think they would have that if it wasn't there. Yeah.
It's really taken on a life of its own. Like, it's one of the...
It left a mark.
It's one of the most well-known cryptids. It's, legendary.
It's probably pretty close to Bigfoot, if not the same.
And what's crazy is, it's only from a short amount of time. Like, it's a short time period. Very small time period that, that took place with this. Whereas something like Bigfoot, I mean, as we speak, there's probably someone that has a sighting as we speak.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
that's a classic one. There's always sightings for that, supposedly, but we'll probably talk about that at some other time.
Oh yeah, we most definitely. But yeah, Mothman, I think it happened. I'm sure. I know you said you think it happened. Maybe it's not what we thought it was, but what do we even think it is? Like, we pretty much don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think
Like-
the ultra terrestrial thing actually makes a lot of sense because it just came into existence. People saw it, and then it just was never seen again. And that kind of, the guy John Keel was saying, it can go in and out of dimensions as it pleases. That's kind of what that seems like, to be honest. Well, guys, this was Lucid Rain.
Hope you guys enjoyed this the first iteration of this new series, and there will be more to come, probably soon. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.